First tonight, a victim of historical abuse in Nottinghamshire's children's homes has told us how he was branded a male prostitute, then wrongly jailed for sex offences. He was only 15 when he was persuaded to admit committing crimes against several grown men.
Well, the man, who we are calling Tony, gave evidence to the child sex abuse inquiry. His convictions have now been overturned, but he says he's still being punished. Our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball reports.
Tony's fighting a battle to lead a normal family life. It's decades since his ordeal began in a dormitory at a Nottinghamshire children's home. He was only 11 when an older boy began sexually abusing him.
I did eventually report it to a member of staff, but it was swept under the carpet. I wasn't moved to another room, so the abuse carried on. I used to cry myself to sleep, but every time I was caught crying myself to sleep, the older boy would come round and hit me. So there was no escape.
Eventually, Tony did find a way to escape. He took up running, but the abuse didn't stop. Several older men started paying him for sex in a public toilet. When he was caught, he was still a 15-year-old child, but he was persuaded to admit committing a string of sex offences.
The judge said that it was prostitution, so I was sent to prison. I could never get my head around the fact that it was okay for me to be abused by another boy, but I was being prosecuted for somebody doing exactly the same and paying me for doing it. What I didn't realise is I was still being abused.
Good morning, everyone.
The independent inquiry into child sexual abuse heard that Tony's teenage convictions have all been overturned, but he said he's still being persecuted because Tony's records mistakenly said he'd served time for abusing children. That led to other complaints that were never substantiated, and he's now facing restrictions to protect other youngsters.
Meeting my partner was like the last chance of happiness, but she's had her children removed because social services said that I posed a risk. They're still using inaccurate information in social care records. So the one chance I had of happiness, they've just taken away from me again.
They know who they all are now. Yeah.
And the group that's been supporting Tony says he's far from alone.
A significant number of children that were in care were prostituted. Now, either because they volunteered or they were forced to prostitute, but that was a common pathway for them. So we were victim blaming, but that record stays with them and it will follow them around, and it just impairs the whole life chances.
The abuse as a child has got no comparison on the abuse since 2010 is mental abuse. And I'm questioning myself, you know, would I be better off dead?